Hi, I'm Belle. Welcome back to my channel. I just wanted to jump on quickly before the kind of video starts, just to say since I recorded this, I've also been tagged by the lovely Rachel from Belle's 1986 SW on a tag to do this too. So I just want to say thank you to Rachel. If you haven't checked out her channel, do go and have a little look. She records amazing Slimming World videos and talks about everything that she's found that week, new products. She's always finding fab new things. She does a Friday finds series on a Friday, obviously, with all the products that she's found that week. And yeah, always finds absolutely brilliant bits. So do go and check out Rachel's channel. So I just want to say thank you for the tag. Sorry that I'd already done this. But anyway, on with the video. Hi, I'm Belle. Welcome back to my channel. I do Slimming World, and today's video is my top 5 tips for staying on plan in October. I was tagged to do this video by the super lovely Sarah SW. Her channel is absolutely brilliant. She's done really well on her Slimming World journey, and she shows really great what I eat in a day videos and recipe videos, and I'm always impressed because she gets up mega early and goes to boot camp. She's also a fellow animal print lover like me, so in her honour I'm doing animal print today. But I have tried to record this video quite a few times over the last week or so, and I think the reason that I've really struggled to do it is because I am myself really struggling to stay on plan at the moment. I think October is a really tricky time, and you know, they're just all the kind of naughty treats are coming back into the shops and are tempting me, and I am really struggling, but I am so far succeeding at staying on plan, and so I am by no means whatsoever an expert, but hopefully these 5 little tips might help anyone else who's having a bit of a tricky time, or indeed as we get through the month with like half term ahead and all those lovely sort of Halloween sweets and chocolates at home, will help you hopefully stay on plan too. So my tip number 1, as boring as it sounds, is during the month of October to write everything down. So I have this Slimming World journal which you get from group, and it's got a section for every day, and you just write down your speed foods, your free foods, your healthy A and B, and your sins. You can also write in your body magic. I think this is a good little book, and I like to be able to look back in my old books. I've always kind of written in kind of journals like this and written down what I've eaten when I've been on a weight loss journey. But if you don't want to spend $4.95 on a book, or you don't follow Slimming World, or you don't go to group, then I would suggest just getting a little 50p notebook from your supermarket, and just, if you are following Slimming World, writing free food, speed food, healthy A, healthy B, and then 1 to 15 down your page, and just tracking it. If you're somebody who likes putting things on your phone, track what you're doing on your phone. If you're somebody who sits at a desktop computer, track it on a computer. But the key thing is to track what you're eating as you go through the day. I think it's really easy to get to the end of the day, try and write it down and try and do the right thing, and then forget what you've had over the day. The best thing to do is to try and write things down as you eat them, because otherwise the muller light you had at breakfast, or the flora that you had on your toast at lunchtime, or your kind of ketchup or mayo or dressing or whatever you're having, soon mounts up. And the little things, I so often, where I haven't had my journal with me, get to the end of the day, think that I've got loads of sins left, and actually sit down and work it out and realise that I'm on like 12 sins for the day, and I've got very few to play with. So I would suggest during the month of October, my first tip is to write everything down, just to kind of remain mindful. And on that note, I mean write everything down. So, you know, if you are kind of nibbling at the biscuits in the on the side, or you're nibbling at the crusts that are on their way to the bin, or whatever it might be, write that down too. Equally, if you fall off plan and you accidentally, you know, find yourself having had, you know, I don't know, let's say 6-pack of Kit Kats. If you've done that, write it down, work out the sins, write it down, put it in your book, because even though it's obviously not ideal to do that, I think sometimes seeing it in black and white makes you feel slightly more in control, and makes you kind of pull yourself back, and kind of get back on plan the next day. So my first tip, write everything down. My tip number 2 is to make your life on whatever plan you're doing as simple and easy as possible. So for me, that's having a slow cooker, having a soup maker, and before I had a soup maker, I had a hand blender to make soups. It's having a freezer stocked with frozen veg like green beans and chopped onions and chopped mushrooms and sliced peppers, meaning that if I want to kind of prepare an on-plan meal, I've got stuff there that is super easy and simple to use, and I can make like a bolognese or a chili or whatever, and all my speed food is there ready chopped without me kind of having to do anything. Equally, it's having things in my freezer like Linda McCartney red onion and rosemary sausages, or Slimming World ready meals, or baked beans in the cupboard, or chopped ready prepared fruit, you know, like the little fruit salads that you can get that are ready chopped in the fridge. All of those kind of things mean that when I come home late or I'm flying out the door in the morning and I haven't had time to kind of get anything ready, means that I can kind of have sort of on-plan food. Equally, I find things like bananas, and which are a free food, and Alpen Light bars or Hi-Fis, which are your either 3 sins or a healthy B for 2, are really valuable for that kind of thing as well. Because if you are in a rush in the morning and you do want to still stay on plan, I think having those foods that you can just grab and run out the door with are really helpful. And having things like frozen veggies in your freezer, I think, are just a brilliant way to stay on plan. So that is my tip number 2, to always be prepared in terms of food that you've got in your fridge or freezer or cupboards, to mean that you can whip up a super easy, quick, on-plan meal in no time at all. My tip number 3 is to be patient and trust the plan you're doing. I think it's really easy to look at social media and see other people's journeys and get frustrated that your journey is taking longer than other people's. I think it's really important for you to remember that people often only post the good of their journey. Some people post everything, but a lot of people post when they're having big successes. And I think it's important for you to just be patient. Remember, this is your journey, and it doesn't really matter the speed that you go. Yes, of course, we'd all love, you know, big losses each week, but this is something we're going to be doing long term, and there are so many different factors involved. And I think if you're kind of patient and you just trust that it will work and just keep putting one foot in front of the other, and in my case, just taking one day at a time, I think that you will be much more likely to stick to it. I think if you think about, you know, what you've got to achieve overall, it's quite overwhelming. Whereas if you just kind of take one day at a time and just think, I've just got to be good for, or kind of stay on plan for today. That's all. Nothing beyond today. Today, I'm going to be the best I can be. I think that's a much easier kind of thing to tackle than having that your kind of whole journey ahead of you. And yeah, so that is my third tip for staying on plan in October, is to be patient and trust the plan. And remember, this is your journey. Just take one step at a time, one day at a time. That's my tip number 3. My tip number 4 is, if you do fall off plan, be that you have a bit of a kind of indulgent afternoon and you eat lots of chocolate, or you have a few glasses of wine too many at the weekend, or whatever it might be, is to get back on plan as soon as you can. Try not to let that kind of time where you've fallen off plan be the start of a kind of downward spiral. It's very easy to kind of easily decide to miss group because you've been a bit naughty at the weekend, and or not weigh that week. And I think we're all going to be human. You know, we are all human. We're all going to have times when we slip up. That's just life. Very few people have a completely perfect route to target. We all have trickier times on that journey. And I think if you can just get back on plan as soon as you possibly can, you're much more likely to limit the damage. For example, if you have been away on holiday, or you've had like a weekend away or whatever it might be, or it's your hubby's birthday, or you've just indulged, and you're kind of worried about facing the scales, just get back on them as soon as you can. get in there, get weighed, draw a line and get back on plan. I think often the time that you've been kind of a little bit naughty or indulgent actually is not what does the damage. It's then your mind unravelling and you thinking, oh, I've blown this week, I'm just going to eat what I want and go back to group next week. Get back there as soon as you can. So often when you think you're going to be facing a gain on the scales, it's not that at all. There have been so many times where I've been absolutely dreading getting weighed, thinking it's going to be a big weight gain, and I get there and it's never as bad as you think it's going to be. So, and even if it does, it doesn't matter. It's just part of the journey, but get back onto it as soon as you can. Just forgive yourself, dust yourself down and get back on plan. So if you do get stuck into those Halloween sweets and chocolates, my tip number 4 is to get back on plan as soon as you can. And my tip number 5 is to believe in yourself and believe that you can achieve your goal. I think we all have our reasons why we started doing this in the first place, why we're on our weight loss journey. For me, it was feeling like ridiculously uncomfortable in everything I wore, never feeling like I looked nice, none of my clothes fitting. And now I've started to, well, I've achieved obviously my 2 stone already, and I've still got, you know, a couple of stone to go, but I'm already feeling proud of myself for what I've achieved, and I know that when I get to my eventual target that I will feel really, really proud of how far I've come, and I know that I will feel a real sense of achievement, and I know that the positives when I get to that point will kind of outweigh the kind of happy feeling that you get from having that extra bar of chocolate or that glass of wine. And sometimes remembering what your kind of longer term goal is and what you're striving for and why you're doing it kind of is you know, more important really than that sort of instant gratification of enjoying that bar of chocolate. Sometimes you do have to kind of keep your eye on that longer term prize and remember why you're doing this. Sorry to get really serious. Right, that's the end of my 5 top tips for staying on plan in October. Sorry I've rambled on, I always do. Thank you to the lovely Sarah SW for tagging me in this video. I'm not going to tag anyone because we're already over a week through the month, and I think most people who want to do a video probably have done by now. But I'd love to know what your top tips are for staying on plan in October. I think we all need support at this time of year and in the kind of months that come up to Christmas. So any suggestions anybody else has for kind of staying on plan and supporting each other through this tricky time would be very gratefully received. Just comment below. But I really appreciate you watching. Thank you so much. And I will see you next time in my next video. Take care. Bye.